We are reading the works of Baal HaSulam, page 313, Shamati, article 189. Why is a person given with such an ability to think, and all of his organs work in such concert with each other, at that time that we think about corporal possessions, but with the matters concerning the soul, the person, the body, and all the senses work heavily with anything that concerns the needs of the soul? The thing is that man's mind and thought are just projections of man's actions. They are reflected as if in a mirror. Hence, if most of one's actions are of corporal needs, it is reflected in the mirror of the mind. This means that they are sufficiently perceived in the mind, and then one can use the mind for whatever one wishes, as the mind receives its sustenance from corporal things. Thus, the mind that serves from which it receives sustenance, it serves that place from which it receives sustenance. And because there are not many rishimot in the brain to suffice for reception of sustenance and impression, the mind is therefore unwilling to serve it for the needs of the soul. For this reason, one must prevail and do many things until they are recorded in the mind. And then the knowledge will certainly increase, as the mind will serve him with shrewdness and speed, even more than for corporal needs, since the mind is a close dressing for the soul. Together with you, we know and study, and begin to slowly feel that creation is a desire, created by the Creator. The light created a desire, a kli, under itself, to the extent to which it wants to bestow delight, to give a feeling of warmth, everything that is good. To this extent, he created a need for himself. To these qualities which he wishes to manifest in the creature. This is why the creation is a desire. And in order for this desire not to be automatic, so that it would be controlled, governed according to the light, would aspire toward the light, would feel itself existing, for this, next to the desire, develops the mind. The reason is the consequence, and it is the most important part of the person. It's asking, what do you want? What you want is not what your desire is, it's what you might want. It's what you imagine in your mind as a good state. And so, we have the desired, and we have what we actually have. The difference between what we have and what we want, it determines the vector of our action. It determines the aspiration of a person. We study with you that these actions are developed in us under the influence of the surrounding environment, not by themselves. We can't imagine any next good state. We choose it. We are given a choice of possible next states, and we choose them. Depending on the environment in which we're in, it creates for us our own future. Therefore, a person is given a reason, a mind, in which he feels a lack, and with his surrounding environment, he can direct himself towards his next chosen good state. And this vector, the magnitude of this vector, is how it's valued. So a person isn't evaluated by his desire, but by his thought, to which he is directed. And this is why we don't judge a person by the state that he's in. This state is given to him from above. Instead, we evaluate him by his actions, which he performs with respect to his environment, to evoke in himself particular thoughts and desires to a particular state. So a person is evaluated by his aspirations. What is he striving for? So it's not that the desire determines our destiny. The desires are created by the Creator. You can't do anything with them. But as we want to see ourselves in each subsequent moment, this is the essence of our existence. And so we must create around ourselves such a surrounding, such a society, such a framework, books, the study, that can determine for us our next state for which we aspire to. And in contact with that future picture which we can imagine for ourselves, in this we must from afar evaluate ourselves. And so a person should never look at what he has at the moment. He can't cohesively judge his present moment. Perhaps he's in a bad state now, according to his desire to receive. Maybe it's bad, but because it's bad, specifically, he's given a large force to exit from it and to aspire to something. But to what to aspire for? For this we have the group, the person, and the state is evaluated by the vector, by the direction and the magnitude of his aspiration. If a person wants to control himself somehow, a person wants to understand what he's for, he always needs to see for himself that next picture, the expected, the desired to which he's aspiring towards, and only pay attention to that and live in that. And then, truly, he'll have a fast motion forward, step by step. His thoughts, the things he imagined, the rishimot that are inside of him will receive immediate clothing. And so the most important thing is this work in the mind, to imagine for yourself as brightly as possible with the greatest resolution the next state. This is called the act affect the thoughts. The thought for us builds the future. It is the foundation for our action, and it creates reality out of it.